You were just a mistake we were forced to keep. The words didn't cut, they cauterized. My sister Clara didn't even whisper it. She threw it across the dinner table like a challenge, her voice ringing off the expensive china. I waited for the world to stop. I waited for my father to roar in my defense or for my mother to gasp in horror. Instead, my mother didn't even look up from her salmon. She's right, Camille, Mom murmured, her voice terrifyingly casual. Don't look so shocked. It's just the truth. The air left the room. My fork rested halfway to my mouth, frozen. I scanned their faces, searching for a punchline, a gotcha, a sign that this was a cruel joke. There was nothing but cold, settled agreement. I was the afterthought. The unplanned burden. The girl who had learned to shrink until she was nearly invisible just to keep the peace. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I slowly set my fork down, finished my water and stood up. Hey, I said. That single word seemed to unsettle them more than a breakdown would have. My father rolled his eyes, muttering about me being dramatic as I grabbed my coat. I walked out of that house without slamming the door. I didn't need a loud exit, I was already gone. 3 weeks later, my Instagram feed was a curated gallery of my own erasure. The perfect family reunion. Photos of my parents and Clara in matching linen outfits, clinking champagne glasses on a sun-drenched patio. My mother's caption read, "Family is everything. #complete #blessed." There was no empty chair for me. I had been deleted from the narrative. That same night my phone began to scream. 17 missed calls. All from Clara. I sat in my new tiny apartment, the one I'd rented in secret, and watched her name flash repeatedly. Then came the texts. Camille, pick up. Please. It's an emergency. It's about the house. I didn't move. I let the silence of my new life wrap around me. Then a voicemail notification popped up. Her voice wasn't the sharp, superior tone from the dinner table. It was high-pitched, jagged with raw panic. Camille, please. They're saying I signed something I didn't understand. They're saying I'm liable. They're going to take everything. I leaned back, a cold, familiar clarity settling over me. For years they had mocked me for being paranoid because I read every line of every contract. They called me difficult because I asked questions about fine print. Now the golden child was drowning in the very ink she'd refused to read. I finally picked up on the 18th call. Camille. Thank God, she gasped, her breath hitching. The bank. They're saying there's a lien. They're threatening legal action. Dad said it was just paperwork for the reunion venue. I just signed where he pointed. Slow down, I said, my voice as level as a horizon line. What exactly did you sign, Clara? I don't know. Some loan structure for the catering and the venue. Dad handled it. But now they say the loan is in my name. That I'm personally responsible if it defaults. I closed my eyes. My father loved leverage, but I never thought he'd use his own favorite daughter as a human shield. Did you read the personal guarantee clause? No. I thought, they wouldn't do that to me, she whispered, her voice cracking. They already did, I replied. The silence on the other end was heavy with the weight of her realization. She had been the favorite, the one worth keeping, and yet she was the one he had fed to the sharks. Forward me the documents, I commanded. They hit my inbox within seconds. I opened the PDF and scanned it with the surgical precision I had developed over years of self-reliance. It was a masterpiece of manipulation. A $200,000 bridge loan with an adjustable interest rate and a default trigger tied to projected event revenue that was laughably inflated. My sister was the primary borrower. My father's name? It only appeared as the event coordinator. No liability. No risk. He had thrown a party for his own ego using his daughter's credit score as the collateral. What does it say? Clara whispered. It says you owe $200,000 and the bank is calling the debt tomorrow, I said. That's impossible. Dad said it was secured. It is, I said. By you. He leveraged your future to buy that champagne you were clinking in those photos. I need you to fix it, she pleaded. You're good at this. You always are. I thought about the dinner table. I thought about the word mistake echoing against the walls. I thought I was a mistake, Clara. Mistakes don't fix six-figure disasters. I'm not asking you to like me, she sobbed. I'm asking you to help me. I didn't answer right away. For the first time, the power dynamic hadn't just shifted. It had inverted. I will review the filing, I said finally. But I am not paying a cent of that debt. That door is locked. The next evening I walked back into my parents' house. The same table. The same chairs. But the atmosphere was different. My father looked cornered. My mother looked defensive. Clara looked like she hadn't slept in 48 hours. I dropped the folder on the table. But, you structured this loan under her name, I said, looking directly at my father. Knowing the revenue projections were impossible. Dad leaned back, trying to summon his old authority. It was efficient, Camille. Her credit is perfect. It's a family matter. Efficient. I countered. You treated your daughter like a high-interest credit card. You knew this would default. Don't you start lecturing me, he snapped, his jaw tightening. I'm not lecturing, I said. I'm clarifying exposure. Legally, Clara is the only one the bank can sue. And they will. My mother finally broke her silence. We're family. Camille, you have the savings. You'll help her. I met my mother's eyes. No. The word was a dead end. You owe her. Mom pressed, her voice rising. She's your sister. I was your daughter, I reminded her quietly. And you sat there 3 weeks ago and agreed that I was a mistake you were forced to keep. If I'm a mistake, then my money is a mistake too. You can't have one without the other. Clara looked at me, tears finally spilling over. I'm sorry, she whispered. It wasn't a strategic apology. It was the sound of a girl who had finally seen the truth of her own value to her parents. I will help you negotiate the terms with the lender, I told her, ignoring my parents entirely. I will review the refinancing to ensure they don't bury you deeper. But the debt stays on the people who spent the money. My father looked up, his face reddening. You're really going to leave us to deal with this? I'm letting you, I said. For the first time in my life, I'm letting the responsibility stay exactly where it belongs. The bank didn't care about family efficiency. They cared about signatures. Within a week, the default was finalized. The event account was empty because my father had already moved the remaining funds to a private account I couldn't touch, but the bank could. Clara moved into a studio apartment. He took a second job. She stopped rolling her eyes when I talked about contracts. For the next few months, I met her at a coffee shop twice a week. I helped her restructure her payments. I helped her avoid the predatory penalties. But I never touched my own savings. My parents stopped posting about perfect families. The reunions ended. No apology ever came from them, but I didn't need one. One evening, Clara sat across from me, looking exhausted but steady. I shouldn't have said what I said that night, she admitted. You were being honest about how they feel, I replied. I was being cruel, she corrected. And I was wrong. I didn't hug her. I didn't offer some grand speech of forgiveness. I simply nodded. Because the biggest realization wasn't about the loan or the money. It was the fact that I was never the mistake. I was the only one in that house who knew how to read the fine print of life. And this time I made sure my signature wasn't on the bill. If this story stirred something inside you, don't scroll away in silence. Tap like. It tells us these stories deserve to be told. Subscribe to Vengeful Goddess for unforgettable tales of betrayal, resilience, and justice. Stories you won't hear anywhere else. Turn on the bell icon so the next story reaches you the moment it drops. Your support keeps these voices alive. But sometimes, revenge isn't loud, being heard is.